Hello everybody and welcome to episode 7 of Chess Traps, and in this video I'm going to show you the Damiano Trap, where you can get a completely winning position by sacrificing your knight on just move free. It comes after pawn to e4, black plays pawn to e5, and now we go knight to f3. We attack the pawn, and black has a lot of good options here. They can play knight to c6, or knight to f6, or pawn to d6. However, one option that is almost never seen is pawn to f6, the Damiano defense. And at first glance, this looks like a fine move defending the pawn. However, the key here is that it actually does not defend the pawn at all. We capture anyways, and on move free, we're sacrificing a knight, and we already have a completely winning position. Now, if they capture back, this gets into the main part of the trap that I will delve into in the rest of the video. However, I do want to show the absolute best line for them, and what is technically the main line, that being queen to e7. Skewering us like this, and you do actually have to be a little careful here. A lot of people are going to blunder queen to h5 check. And it's not a blunder for black, it's actually a blunder for you, because after pawn to g6, it looks like we can capture, we get this, and they cannot capture back, because then they lose the rook. But the problem is, they can actually capture on e4, and we actually are getting forked ourselves, and after we block, they capture here, and now black's actually the one winning. So we have to not fall into that trap, but instead, simply play knight back to f3, after they capture, just block the check, bishop to e2, and you're going to have so much development that you just have an incredible position here, even though the material is completely equal. Like after knight to c6, now you go knight to c3 here, attack the queen, it will back up, and after castles, once again, you have an even position material-wise. However, you have so much development. This pawn f6 is extremely awkward, and because of that, you're almost completely winning here. So, that is queen to e7, the supposed main line. However, most people here will end up capturing the knight, and now we play queen to h5 check. We check their king and take advantage of this very weak diagonal. This is the only winning move, and black has two options they can play here: pawn to g6 or king up to e7. There are only two legal moves. If they play pawn to g6, then now we capture on e5, we fork their king and the rook in the corner, and because that, we're simply winning here. They can block the check, we capture, and then capture on e4 here, and you can block the bishop. However, this drops the g2 pawn, and because of that, it is not the absolute best option. Instead, king over to d1 is slightly better, and here you just have a completely winning position. You're up a rook. If black's not careful, you're also going to capture the knight here. You can develop your knight, develop your bishop, get your rook on this open e-file, and you simply have a fantastic position here. So, pawn g6 does not really work that well. Their only other option that is probably a little more resilient is king up to e7 here. If they play this, then now you capture on e5 once again. Their only legal move is to walk over to f7, and now you play bishop to c4 here. Get another piece into the attack, check their king, and they only have two legal moves here once again, that being king running to g6 or pawn to d5. Pawn to d5 is actually the only way for them to survive here, since after we capture and they run to g6, like I showed in those arrows here that I forgot to delete, this bishop now covers all of these very important squares, and because of that, this is not an immediate checkmate. If they do end up running to g6 immediately, then now we simply have checkmate here. We play queen to f5 check, king moves over, and now very important, pawn to h4 here. Keeping this g5 square under control. That way, if they ever push there, we can simply capture. And if they play something random here, if they play like knight to c6, then we simply have checkmate. We play pawn to d3 check or pawn to d4. That way, our bishop gets this. They have to block with g5. We capture, double check like this. They have to run over. Now queen to f7, checkmate. And if they do not play that, if instead they play the most resilient defense, queen to e7, covering the f7 square, then now once again, pawn to d3 check, they have to play g5, and in this case, you can simply capture with the bishop. There are many wins, but this is the simplest. You get this fork here, so you're going to win their queen, you're already up a ton of material, and you're just completely winning. So king g6 immediately does not work. Instead, what's better is pawn to d5. We capture, they run to g6. Now we no longer have this queen to f5 check, and because of that, instead we push our h pawn first. So we go pawn to h4. The idea of this is we're going to push up to h5 and then lure the king to h6. Like if they play something random here, if they play pawn to a6, then we play this check, king moves over, and now pawn to d3, bishop sees the king. They have to block with g5, and now en passant, very nice move, and this is checkmate in 2. They capture, queen to h5 check now. They can run to either of these two squares, result in checkmate. This one with queen to g5 check, and the other one with queen to f7 check. So that is very, very nice. They cannot play something random with pawn to a6. Instead, if they try pawn to h6 or pawn to h5, which are their only two good options here to try and get a square for their king to run away to, then we win here with a very nice bishop takes on b7. And I think this is a fantastic example on how a piece on one side of the board can completely affect positions on the complete other side of the board. Here, if they capture, then now queen to f5 is checkmate. We take advantage of the fact that the bishop has to cover that square, and because of that, we're simply going to win the rook in the corner. They can play bishop to d6 and attack our queen, but we simply move over to either of these two squares. That way we keep this connection to the f5 square, and once again, they cannot capture because of checkmate. So after something like knight to f6, we capture, and we just have a completely winning position here. And if back here, if they play pawn to h5, then the position does not really change that drastically. We once again have bishop takes on b7, and if they capture, then now queen to f5 check, king moves over, pawn to d3, and we once again have a forced checkmate. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want more. Check out the other episodes in this opening trap series, and I will see you next time. Have a fantastic day.